Hey guys, good morning. At least it's morning here. I'm sitting on the porch. It is raining, so let's see. Maybe you will get some nice sounds out of this in the background. But wait a minute. Okay. I've been thinking, since I last uploaded a video, I've been thinking what to make for you guys. But it wasn't flowing. I would think, okay, I could make a political video, draw some cards, I could do an eclipse video, I could do all kinds of things, or even writing a newsletter, newsletter, blog post, just something for you guys. And every day I am remembering, now this is astrology, but I'm going to be general with it. So every day I ask myself, is it me? Am I going through something? Am I depressed? Why is it hard to bring a larger message out? So I'm talking to my clients, doing my sessions. That's all one-on-one. When you have if you've ever read one of those, at any time in your life, read one of those depression checklists, it's not going to say, can't think of an idea for a YouTube video. It's going to say, well, there could be trouble sleeping or trouble eating, persistent low mood, all this kind of stuff. Not that I mean to minimize depression, but you know what I mean, those checklists. Not coming up with the right idea to make a YouTube video is usually not on the list. Although I do understand it could be seen as just, a larger part of not doing the work. And yet, I don't think that's what it is. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm telling you this story. A, because I do want to say hi and good morning and let you listen to the rain and upload a little something. But I also want to remind you and remind myself. We've got Jupiter retrograde. We've got Saturn retrograde. We've got Pluto retrograde. And these three, it's not going to be business as usual. We're not going to move forward like we usually do when planets are direct. And it does have, ultimately there is a similar theme to all the retrogrades, including Mercury retrograde. Even if you don't know anything about astrology, you've probably heard of Mercury retrograde, of course. When we are supposed to review and redo and realign ourselves with our purpose. So, we're going to move differently now. It's not going to be, okay, I'm going to do this, 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 which is how it can be with planets are direct. If we try too hard to push the river, it's just, it's not going to work. But even more than that, the point that I want to get across to you is that our time now is not the same as normal time because of these retrograde planets. And also because we have two planets in Cancer, Mercury and Mars, the crab moving sideways. So there is an indirectness. These retrograde planets, there's definitely an indirectness. So you may find yourself perfectly able, willing, and desiring to do all the things, and only some of them will you do, because you will open your mouth and have nothing to say. or you will be writing your to-do list and write nothing down. And and I know people watch YouTube, of course, all over the world, but I can only speak from an American perspective. We in America value nonstop work, nonstop productivity. Social media is open 24/7, especially if you're self-employed like me. Marketing, 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 selling, selling, selling. And here we've got planets in Cancer, lots of retrograde. And those slow-moving planets, they do matter. So there's no way, you guys, that we're going to have typical productivity. Work, work, work. And I think it becomes this issue becomes even more obvious during times like this. This issue becomes even more obvious because it's stronger. The feeling is stronger of, gosh, I really want to make a YouTube video, but I can't think of anything. And we had Mars in Cancer, and then Mercury too, and this combination is a recipe for going within. And going within is not the same kind of doing as the usual doing. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if you know this. So, you guys, I'm just bringing you a reminder. I think you know this. I think you know all this. Now, another thing, in July we have 2 eclipses. New moon, full moon. They are eclipses. Sorry, I'm watching my cat watching something over there. I don't know what it is. But he's definitely on alert. He has his on alert face. Anyway, we have the 2 eclipses in July. Now, I've been reading this book, which is really intense. Haven't read the whole thing yet, but she talks about eclipses. So according to her, actually, let me say, when I do an eclipse reading for someone, I look at the whole chart, meaning I look at all the aspects. I look at it in context. What else is going on? No matter their sun sign, because the eclipses we're going to have are in Cancer and then Capricorn. But I will look at these in anyone's chart and do a more holistic kind of reading or diagnosis. But in this book that I was reading, she really only considers these 2 aspects, these 2 kinds of conversations the eclipse can be having. So it's a bit more strict. Her view, her way is a bit more strict, and I'm a bit more open. So if you were to come to me for an eclipse reading, I would look at trines and sextiles and squares. And of course her orbs, the degrees that she's willing to consider are going to be a lot smaller. Now I will note these things, but I still look at it. I still take it into consideration. So I just want to say that. But if you are Cancer, if you are Capricorn, I think everyone would agree that these are really important eclipses for you. Now the first one, I think I remember it correctly, it's 10 or 11 degrees. So the closer your Cancer planets are to that degree, this author, I believe, would believe, the stronger the effect. And the Capricorn eclipse, that's the full moon one, I think. Sorry, I didn't bring my book out on the porch. I think it's at 24, 25. So the closer your Capricorn planets or your Cancer planets, in either one, you consider the sign or the opposite sign, Cancer and Capricorn, the more of an effect, the more intense. Now, for all of us, if you know your birth time, for all of us, the Capricorn does exist in a particular house. It's taking shelter somewhere. So those areas of life could get revved up, or there could be an unexpected or surprising happening. Those issues are in the spotlight. This is true for us all. But if you're not a Cancer, not a Capricorn, you'll probably emphasize the house in your chart more. And if you don't have the houses because you don't have your birth time, you may feel compelled to just look and see, okay, that full moon in Cancer makes a sextile to this in my chart. It makes a trine, it makes a square, it makes an opposition or whatever. And maybe some people won't count all that. But you, like me, may like to see the entire lay of the land. And as I don't think anyone says anymore but me, your mileage may vary. I do think of eclipses as game changers, life changers for sure. And they can bring totally out of the blue, seemingly random experiences. But I believe if you are self-aware and you look closely at your life, you will see patterns. I think rarely does anything happen that wasn't part of a bigger story in our lives. Except when we're very, very young, like the first year. There's no story yet, right? Unless we look at the transits before we were born. That gets into bigger karmic stuff, soul stuff. At least by the time we reach a certain age, we see the patterns, we see the stories. So, I'm going to say more about this. I want to say more about this, but not right now. Because I woke up not that long ago. I need some coffee, I need something to eat, and figure out the day. Do you make lists, you guys? Do you make lists? I need to check my list. I have at least one list for each day. And as I was saying at the start, with Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, retrograde, 2 planets in Cancer, we're heading into the eclipses. Things are not as usual. This is not business as usual time. And I'm not just saying that because I'm moving, but things are not as they usually are. And they're not supposed to be. They're not supposed to be. We need these. It's like time out of time. We need these times where it's not supposed to be work, work, work. And you know what the gift is? I'll tell you, people don't often stop what they're doing or pay attention or slow down until they get sick. God forbid a terrible chronic or acute sickness or health problem, or even just a cold. We don't slow down. We wait until we're taken out by life. So this season right now, retrograde planets in Cancer, almost the eclipses. That's what this is for. If you can get yourself to slow down, and I don't even mean that you have to slow down and soul search, but just slow down. Go a little slower. That's what I mean. Go a little slower. And everything you have to do, I think that's the right approach. Okay, you guys. I will see you later.